Come on now, fellas! We've got to answer the bell. Now let's go!
Welcome into Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Chris Yow alongside Mo Patton, and it is Wild and Wacky Wednesday, and we are so glad to have you with us. Hope you guys are having a fantastic hump day. Mo, what's up, man?
It's having a fantastic hump day.
Good. I'm so glad to hear it. You and a lot of great young athletes are having a really good day today.
For different reasons.
No question there.
Yeah.
It is National Signing Day, Early Signing Day, National Early Signing Day, which is National Signing Day. Let's be honest. February, I don't even know why February even is a thing anymore.
I remember one year.
Your mom took you to school shop. Oh, sorry.
I was covering UT women's basketball, and I was asking Pat Summit about recruiting and whether someone was signing in November. And she said either they're signing in November or they're not signing. So I say that to say Pat feels the same way that you do.
It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But hey,
yeah, we're not waiting. Yeah. So.
And we're so glad that that this is kind of getting the bad part about this, Mo, is that it takes away a really good news day from February. Because now you're sitting here with all of the information is you've got bowl games. You've got all of this stuff kind of coming together.
But again, I will tell you, a lot of college writers are happy to not have to deal with signing day,
random
that work. Well, the ones that work at outlets where they have to cover college football and college basketball.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. Nightmare.
I can see that.
Yeah.
I can see that. So I get it. I'm happy for those guys who don't have to be on the road.
That's
on
it.
A random day in February.
I remember sitting in Stegman Coliseum down in Athens, Georgia, trying to track down signings.
That's not easy to do.
No,
and I mean back then for sure,
especially
because you didn't have a fax machine.
Well, you did have fax machines, but you didn't have the interwebs.
No, you didn't have one.
Yeah, I did not have one. Yes, I did not. Yes, you're absolutely right.
So you were in trouble.
Big time.
Oh man. Well, we're having a good day today. It's going to be a great show. We're going to talk about some of these. I've got 2 press conference videos, Mo. One from Mark Stoops and one from Josh Heupel. kind of different contrasting views on what they're doing as a program.
Mm-hmm.
And the one from Mark Stoops, I really wanted to talk about because obviously there is a local connection
Mm-hmm.
to his quarterback signing. So want to get into that a little bit. He had some things to say about the quarterbacks who are currently on campus. And so I'll ask you if you believe him when you hear what he had to say. Heather Williams will join us. We've got some auto racing news to talk about. I know you didn't realize that silly season in NASCAR was every week.
Didn't realize there was a silly season in NASCAR, but here we are.
There's only 2 months between racing and start the end of racing and the start of racing. So 2 months of silly season and we're in the middle of it. All of that. Teresa Walker will talk Titans with us. I wore my Titans pullover today. So we'll see how that goes for me. Big news out of Titans camp. If you're a Vols fan, and I wouldn't have known about it because I'm blocked by Josh.
He's not going to unblock you. So
I need to go to practice and just ask him.
Wait,
Josh, I don't know what I did. Josh Dobbs.
Why are you blocked by Josh Dobbs?
I don't know. It's a great question. I was one of the first Josh Dobbs apologists. I mean, from day one, I was like,
I'm not sure Josh Dobbs ever needed an apologist.
Well,
I mean,
his first action was against Alabama at the only Tennessee Alabama game that I've ever been to, and I was on the sideline, and he took a shot from a dude named Pagan, Angel Pagan or something. I don't know. That's a baseball player.
Yeah,
He took a shot and he came in for Justin Worley that day and had a great second half and really, put the team on his back like he would eventually do for the remainder of his career. And from that day forward, I was Josh Dobbs' #1 fan. And Butch Jones just refused. He refused to play number 11 that year. He was going to play Justin Worley, come hell or high water.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I mean, I was one of the first people like Butch Jones has got to go unless he plays this guy, because this guy's going to win us football games. And now I'm blocked. I don't get it.
So you were riding for Josh when nobody else was.
And I mean, I was on the Sticks train. I was the conductor.
And here we are.
Maybe it's a different Yow.
I have no idea. I'm really upset about it though. I'm gonna go to Titans practice and ask Josh.
Why?
Will you please unblock me? I don't know what I did, but I didn't mean it.
We'll start a Twitter campaign.
Unblock Yow.
Yeah.
I'm sorry for what I said when I was hungry.
Exactly. I just needed the Snickers. Oh man. And we got Wild and Wacky Wednesday. We got 4 football games we got to pick, guys. We only picked up to today. So we've got 4 college football games we got to pick through Friday. So lots to get to, including scores and schedules. So we should probably do that pretty quickly and get to today's rundown.
This is the rundown.
Girls high school basketball action from Tuesday night. Bartlett defeated Oakland 62-26. It was Beach 68, Cambridge 30. Blackman with a 72-44 win over Middle Tennessee Christian. East Nashville down Bradford 60-32. Brentwood 49, Cannon County 48. It was Brentwood Academy 59, Pearl Cone 17. Independence with a 39-29 win over Centennial. Cheatham County defeated Pope Prep 65-37. It was Ezel Harding 41, Columbia Central 31. Eagleville with a 60-21 win over Santa Fe. Fayetteville down Giles County 58-28. Friendship Christian 50, University School of Nashville 24. Gallatin 61, Springfield 47. Goodpasture with a 61-50 win over Joe Burns. Gordonsville 34, Watertown 26. Harpeth Hall 55, Franklin Simpson out of Kentucky 47. Hendersonville 52, Sycamore 51, and Houston County 63, Harpeth 43.
Clarksville Academy down Kenwood 60-19. It was Bob Jones of Alabama 45, Lawrence County 33. Lebanon takes care of Ramsey of Alabama by a couple 46-44. It was White House Heritage 55, Liberty Creek 44, Stewart's Creek 47, Lipscomb Academy 29. Loretto down Dyersburg 68-55, and Page was a 63-26 winner over Clarksville Northwest. Red Bowling Springs down to East Nashville 46-34, while Westmoreland took care of Rossview 42-38. Knoxville Webb apparently with a forfeit win over Siegel 2-0. Wren of South Carolina 56-16 over Station Camp. It was Ensworth 69, Sullivan East 29, Summertown 68-25 winners over Summit. Trousdale County 55, Hillwood 17, and Clarksville 65-35 winners over White House.
In boys basketball on Tuesday, it was Beach 59, Cookville 56. Blackman with a 64-45 win over Harriman. Independence by 5, 48-43 over Centennial. Cheatham County with a 70-54 win over Martin Luther King. Hillsborough 59, Clarksville Academy 44. Columbia Central snaps a 9-game skid. Downs Hartsville, Alabama 48-44. Christ Presbyterian Academy with a 68-47 win over Hunters Lane. Creekwood 67, Sycamore 49, Station Camp 65, Davidson Academy 43, Eagleville with a 60-48 win over Santa Fe. East Nashville downs York Institute 64-42. East Robertson with a 78-45 win over Stewart County. Stewart's Creek defeats Ezel Harding 66-54. Franklin, the Admirals coming through with a 53-47 win over Mount Juliet. Gallatin defeats Springfield 71-59, and Gordonsville 66, Watertown 60.
Grace Franklin fell to Greenville 68-57. I don't know. I guess the schedule just never got updated. It says TBA.
Just figured I'd let you handle that one.
It's Greenville. That's I don't know where that came from. Anyway, Hancock County of Kentucky 56-38 winners over Spring Hill. Hendersonville 69-49 over Clarksville. Page falls to Hillwood 57-54. And Laverne is a 60-51 winner over McGavick. Murfreesboro Central 69-56 over Lawrence County in their second of that doubleheader. down in Lawrenceburg. Lebanon 58-50 winners over Brandon. White House Heritage 60-32 over Liberty Creek. It was BGA 72, Lincoln County 60. Lipscomb Academy beats Bullitt East of Kentucky 79-60, while Loretto down Clements of Alabama. The Colts 57-34. MBA 55-47 winners over Christian County, Kentucky. McCallie 60, Providence Christian 41. Nashville Christian over Whitefield Academy of Kentucky 70-43. Newcastle, Pennsylvania. I still don't know while we're reading this score, 60-42 over Tennessee. Nolansville 57-38 winners over Forest. Pearl Cone downs MTCS 70-58. Pope Prep 85. Oakland 60. Portland 61-55 winners over Smyrna. Ravenwood down Westmoreland 74-47. Flip that thing and reverse it. 73 points for Richland and just 30 for Phillips Bear Creek of Alabama. Big win there for the Lady Raiders. Samuel L. Wolfson of Jacksonville, Florida downs Friendship Christian 47-43. It was Upperman 49, Siegel 45, Siegel 39. Summit 85-84, 55 winners over Summertown. Webb School 67, Rockville 57, Russellville, Kentucky downs White House 65-56, and East Hickman 75-66 winners over Whites Creek.
Did you say Samuel L. Wolfson?
I may have. I probably did, sure actually.
You did. Yeah. For what it's worth, it's Samuel W. Wolfson, but
Samuel L. is way better though.
It is way better. You're right. Yeah, they should change that. Women's basketball action on Tuesday, as we discussed yesterday. MTSU with the early 74-68 win over Conference USA rival Rice. Belmont nearly busted the clock. 98-87 win over Troy. Men's basketball action on Tuesday. It was Tennessee State defeating Brescia 98-83, and Lipscomb. Listen carefully. Lipscomb 75, Louisville 67. I assume that was at the KFC Yum Center.
It was.
That's hats off to the Bisons. That's a big one. NCAA football, these would be bowl games. Toledo edged Liberty and covered 21-19. Eastern Michigan with a 41-27 win over San Jose State. And in the association, the New Gays, as you called them yesterday, Chris, Denver defeats the Grizzlies 105-91.
Let's not talk about that Toledo covering 1.5 points over Liberty.
Yeah, I can see why you might not want to talk
so
too
mad.
much about that. Yeah.
Oh man, today's action: Brentwood down to Oakland at Lebanon in the. There's the name for it. I forget what the name was.
The
47
Kerry Malone Super Games.
That's it. Kerry Malone, 47-33 over Oakland. It was Mount Juliet 35, Charleston County 30. At noon today, Hillsborough and Page played, and at 1 o'clock, Joe Burns and Liberty Creek were at White House. Clarksville Christian and Rockville playing at Lebanon. Forest and Summit are at Nolensville. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
At 2 o'clock, they just tipped moments ago. Ramsey of Alabama and Ezo Harding down at Lawrence County. That's the 2:30 tip. At 4 o'clock, it's White House Heritage and Clarksville at White House. Over at Gibson County, Loretto takes on Poplar Bluff, Missouri at 4 o'clock. Lawrence County is at Cleveland at 5. Columbia Central and Upperman will play at 5:30 at Lebanon. CPA and Cheatham County are at Portland at 6 o'clock. Also at 6 o'clock, Blackman and Stewart's Creek at Lipscomb Academy. At Tennessee High School over in the area of Heather Williams, the High Point Central North Carolina and Innsworth at 6 o'clock. At 7 o'clock, it's Westmoreland and Harpeth Hall at Beach. Collierville's at Lebanon, and Good Pasture is at White House.
Boys basketball action. These games are likely in progress. Cannon County is playing Middle Tennessee Christian at Lebanon. That was a 1 o'clock start. At 2 o'clock, Hart County, Kentucky, and Montgomery Central are playing at Logan County, Kentucky. 2:30. So this one's getting ready to tip at Riverdale at Siegel and Cascade. Also at 2:30 at White House, you've got Joe Burns and Liberty Creek. At 3:30, Tennessee Heat and Fayetteville are playing. And also at 3:30, Forest is playing Summit at Nolensville. At 4 o'clock, Webb School is at Riverdale. Also at 4 o'clock, Betsy Lane of Kentucky is at Nashville Christian. 5:30, Oakland plays Good Pasture at Riverdale. Also at 5:30 at White House, Russellville, Kentucky plays White House Heritage. At 6:30, Montgomery Central plays at Logan County, Kentucky. Also at 6:30, Summertown plays at Nolensville. At 7:30, Brainerd plays Rossview at Lebanon, and Hume Fogg is at White House. Also at 7:30 at Dobbins Bennett, Brentwood Academy takes on Moravian Prep of North Carolina. At 8:30, Ensworth is at Beach, and Pearl-Cohn is at Lebanon.
Women's basketball action. Tennessee State downed Wilberforce earlier today at 11 o'clock tip. I don't know the final score exactly, but I know Tennessee State did win. Alabama A&M and Vanderbilt are currently underway at Memorial on SEC Network Plus. And just moments ago, Austin P tipped at home against UNC Asheville on ESPN Plus. Men's basketball action this evening. Austin P is at Tennessee. That's a 5 o'clock tip on ESPN Plus. Murray State's at Middle Tennessee State, 6 o'clock tip on ESPN Plus. Also on ESPN Plus at Belmont tonight at the Curb, 6:30 p.m. tip. Samford Buckyball in the building. Take on the Bulldogs. Take on the Bruins. Bulldogs, Bruins.
There we go.
Football tonight, Western Kentucky, South Alabama, 8 o'clock in New Orleans for the R&L Carriers New Orleans Bowl. That's an ESPN production. And on the ice, the Preds are in Chicago to take on the Blackhawks. 7:30 puck drop on Bally Sports South, and that is your rundown. Before we get out of here, I want to mention that Franco Harris, the receiver of the Immaculate Reception, just unfortunately days before the 50th anniversary and days before his number would be lifted into the rafters for the Steelers, died today. So our thoughts are with his family, but man, forever entrenched in NFL history will be
without
Franco
question. Yeah, I mean, whenever you get into playoff football, you see that replay of that play, and it was pretty amazing at the time, and has just continued to be so over the passage of time. And it's crazy. He died at 72 today. For some reason, those guys just felt so much older at that time, you know.
They all looked like they were 60 and they were 30.
Yeah,
25. I mean,
yeah, it's kind of crazy, but I mean, I know a couple of huge Steelers fans, and I've not reached out to them, but I know they are, you know, really, really crushed at this point, because this was their childhood, those Steelers of the 70s, and Franco Harris being one of those guys. So this is it's a tough day for the black and yellow. And like you said,
the books as the best named miracle play ever, though.
the Immaculate Reception
can't beat
that. It fits absolutely.
I would be interested in this. This may be the only time I ever watch the Fox NFL pregame show, just to see what Terry Bradshaw will have to say.
That's a good
I know he will have some interesting and great memories to share, I'm sure, of Franco Harris. But Franco Harris of Steelers fame and the Immaculate Reception died this morning or last night. I'm not sure.
I think it was this morning.
But he will still be enshrined on Saturday, from what I understand. They will lift his number into the rafters, and hopefully his family will be on hand to accept that honor for him.
He was a rookie.
Yeah. He was.
That's crazy.
I think Joe Williams actually posted that this morning on Facebook, that he was like, I'm pretty sure he was a rookie when that happened, and he was talking about how he remembered it. But everybody kind of remembers that. If you were at all a football fan back then, you remember watching it. So Heather Williams standing by. We will talk to her in just a moment. Got a little auto racing coming up, so stick around on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. We will be back right after this. Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net. Hey folks, while we take a quick break from the show, I want to tell you about our friends over at Custom Stone Handlers in downtown Columbia. Ed Rich and his team at Custom Stone Handlers believe in leadership. And outside of the military, our greatest leader building platform is sports. Custom Stone Handlers proudly encourages young people to get in the game. You can contact them today at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50 plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, ZionEagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's ZionEagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
Are you an enthusiastic sports fan? Want to have fun and get in on the action?
Heck yes, that'd be awesome.
Have great attention to detail? Want to stay active?
Definitely.
Want to give back to the student athletes in your community?
Obviously, yes.
Then you'd make an excellent high school sports official. We need more officials in Tennessee, because with no high school officials, there are no high school sports. Sign up today at highschoolofficials.com.
Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Murray County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic injuries, and our Ortho Quick walk-in service lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net. Welcome back into Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Chris Yow and Mo Patton. That was the first time that I've almost called this show Mornings on Main Street. I've called Mornings on Main Street almost Main Street Sports Today plenty, Mo. But the good thing is I always catch myself on mornings. I'll say, this is Main Street Media TV. We'll be right back.
Nice.
So
nice.
I can usually catch myself on that show. But we are excited because it is Wednesday. It's and that means it is Heather Williams Day, and Heather joins us now with that's a cool hat. What kind of what is 500? What 500?
Something, it's something 500, yes.
Or 300. It's a 300.
It's the Victory Lane hat from the Xfinity Series race in Bristol here in 2017, I believe.
We love the neon green.
Absolutely. The lime is always a good look. And I tell you something.
I'm already in holiday mode. You can see no makeup, hair in a
Love
hat.
it.
Already
Let's
there.
do it.
No apologies necessary. Not all women can pull off the cap look. You certainly do.
Well, thank you.
Kudos. Absolutely.
It's a lot easier than doing the massive amounts of hair that I have. So as soon as the holidays hit, it's baseball cap all the way.
There you go. There you go. Whatever it takes to keep the head warm, because it's getting ready to be bad. Yeah. So, Chris, have at it.
Well,
well, you know, I thought before we talked about NASCAR, I would talk to you. I heard you guys have a team playing down here at Dobbins-Bennett.
we do.
Okay. Have you seen what they've done with their basketball arena?
The dome is fantastic. I don't know that.
Okay.
I mean, I saw a picture of it today.
So the dome is currently uninhabitable. It has some structural issues. So they're having to fix the dome. So, you know, normal schools would just play, you know, at the little school or whatever, not Dobbins-Bennett. They have taken over the old Sullivan North High School, which was closed a couple years ago because
for West Ridge.
Mm-hmm. And they have completely redone it. They have new signage, a new floor. They've painted it. They built a new locker room with like gaming chairs and things for the kids to be in. And it is now the Tribes Sports Complex. Now, this is now. They've spent several $1 million on this project. And this is the best part. It's just a temporary home because they will eventually be going back to the dome.
When are they expected to?
They're hoping for next year, but it may be longer. There's quite a bit of work that needs to be done to the dome. But the running joke right now inside of Dobbins-Bennett is the kids aren't going to want to go back because it's way nicer than the dome where they're playing right now. The money that they've invested in this facility is phenomenal.
Well, is it way nicer than the dome's going to be?
Well, probably not, because they'll probably invest, you know, $10 million in the dome when it's all said and done. But
so what you're saying is their backup gym is better than a lot of folks' real gym.
Oh, without a doubt. Without a doubt.
What's the plan for Sullivan East then?
No, Sullivan North is where they are.
Sullivan North, I mean,
which doesn't exist anymore. It became West Ridge.
But what's the plan for that gym? I mean, you can't just spend millions of dollars and do nothing.
They're going to make it a community center.
Well, that's incredible.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
You can't hide money.
Yeah, I know. I said it's good to be king, isn't it? I mean,
in King Sport.
Dobbins-Bennett snaps their fingers and they get just about whatever they want. It's crazy, but it's gorgeous. I went over there and covered the tournament yesterday. It was my first day seeing that in person, and it was unbelievable. Now what's going to have to happen, by the way, because that's the way things work around here, is that Science Hill's also going to have to build a community center like that.
That's 100% what has to happen.
So you're saying there's a little bit of a rivalry between Kingsport and Johnson City, and
just a small one
between DB and Science Hill, and maybe we'll have to get Ken Cutlip to talk to us a little bit about that.
For sure. I saw Ken was up here checking out the Science Hill girls. They played in the tournament before Christmas or before Thanksgiving, and he was up here. So it was good to see him.
He may still be in the process of moving. I'm not entirely sure because things happen pretty quick. They finally picked up a win yesterday after losing 9 in a row. So yeah, things have not been good early for Central.
So the team that we have over there, Mo, is Brentwood Academy. So they're probably coming back with blueprints.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure a lot of those schools, especially the private ones, are. It's just. I've never seen it from a public school. I mean, you see Brentwood Academies, and I covered Macaulay and GPS and Baylor in my time in Chattanooga, and so I've seen the money thrown around at private schools. No problem. But I've never seen anything like this with a public school. I mean, they're just like, oh, we don't have a gym. Oh, well, we're just going to build you a new gym. It's a temporary gym, and it's going to be nicer than everybody else's real gym. And when our real gym opens, it's going to be better than our temporary gym. It's crazy.
So Heather, explain to the uninitiated. Are KDB and the Sullivan County schools, are they in the same school system?
No, but Sullivan North was technically in Kingsport city limits, and so I think when they closed Sullivan North, Kingsport City the city of Kingsport bought the building, with plans of eventually turning it into some sort of community center or whatever. And then when the dome became unusable, the Kingsport City Schools went to the city of Kingsport and asked them if they could use the building temporarily.
Now, when did the dome become uninhabitable?
It was in the fall. The volleyball teams played their games at the middle school all season. And so
so the volleyball team played at the middle school, and the basketball team is playing at this Taj Mahal, huh?
I mean, the basketball team did win a state championship last year, so they get
Who the
whatever they want.
victors go the spoils, hey?
There we go. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
It's almost like they treat it like a kingdom over there in Kingsport.
Well, it is Kingsport, so
that's right. Not Queensport. If it were Queensport, then
look, one of my favorite
maybe volleyball would get some love, Mo.
One of my favorite examples of that, by the way, is I won't throw the school under the bus, but I was covering a school maybe 2 or 3 years ago. Both their baseball team and their softball team qualified for the state tournament in Murfreesboro. And they were both leaving on buses at the same time.
Oh.
And the buses roll up. And the boys have a regular sized school bus. And the girls have a short bus. The girls' parents were hot. They were hot to trot.
Has Title IX just not made it to Upper East Tennessee or what?
I don't know. Well, I actually, the girls' parents told me that it had something to do with the boys fundraising enough money to afford the big bus, and the girls did not.
Was it a bus driver issue? Like,
no,
because short buses you don't have to have
I didn't understand why it cost that much money to ride your own school bus. It's not like it was a tour bus; it was a school bus. But yeah,
that's weird.
Yeah. So anyway,
stories from high school.
No, yeah, that's why we're here. You know, we're bringing you all the news that is news from across the state of Tennessee, from Bristol to Memphis every day.
Well, and it is a slow period in NASCAR, so there's not a ton to talk about.
It is. I have 2 things though that I would like to get into. Number one, we will start with potentially more racing, an expansion to 42 races potentially in the future. Is that what I'm hearing?
Well, I think this is probably the counter to wanting to do the exhibition races. I mean, I know that the owners don't feel like they're getting the bang for their buck, that they're not getting enough profits. And I know that the tracks do not, and the TV does not want to give up a bigger percentage of their profits to the owners.
So the only way to do it is
the only way to get more money is to add more races, right? I mean, the inventory doesn't change the way the next gen is. They're assigned a certain amount of cars, so they don't have to build new cars. The employees are already employed year round, so you don't have to hire more employees. You know, I guess the only additional cost would be travel. So I mean, for me personally, and I love racing, but racing is already the longest season in all the sports. I mean, it starts in February and ends in November, you know, and then once you have the banquet, which they're, you know, we talked about this before, they're thinking about, you know, cutting back on, you know, the banquet's in December. So you're basically talking about a month. And really in January, they have to start building their inventory and getting things ready for Daytona and the Clash. So there's really not any downtime at all. And there was only one off week this year with them racing on Easter now in Bristol. So, you know, I see what they're doing, but it just becomes really tough when you're talking about squeezing that much racing into a season. But that's what that's about. The owners don't feel like they're making enough money to survive.
So
that's tough.
Right? What is the benefit, perhaps, you know, to some of these places who used to have 2 races now only have 1? You know, potentially the fairgrounds getting an annual race if this happens, something like that. Is that what we're potentially talking about? Because if so, I'm in.
Well, the fairgrounds is getting something. I mean,
sure.
it's going to happen. I mean, a lot of most of the people that you talk to don't want to say that, but now that SMI and Marcus Smith and Bristol Motor Speedway are involved, they make things happen, and they're going to find a way to, take care of the sound issues and rebuild the track and make that happen. So that's going to happen one way or another. But since they now also own Nashville, they're trying to find creative ways to not, because all the facilities that they have that have multiple races, they've got it set up where they're places where they feel like they deserve multiple races. Bristol, Atlanta, Charlotte. So they don't really have dates to take. So, that it's fine. And I think they really want to date at the fairgrounds. I think they really want to date at North Wilkesboro, pending how things go with the All-Star race, because there's a little bit of a question there. So there's 2 dates right there that they've got to find a place for SMI. So, I mean, where do those dates come from? I mean, Texas has already lost one of their dates. It only has 1 date now because their second date was the All-Star race, and they lost that to North Wilkesboro this year. I mentioned those 3 tracks could potentially take
2 years. 2 years ago, I would have said Atlanta, but as good as that race was this year, no way.
Right, and I think turnout wise, Atlanta is always in jeopardy of losing a race because they do not draw very well. But the racing was so good there, I think the drivers would be really upset if they lost a race. But that would be a potential. I don't really see them giving up a date in Vegas. And so, New Hampshire only has 1 date. I'm trying to think what other track. Sonoma only has 1 date. So,
but there's also only so many places you can race at certain times of the year. I mean, that's why we race in Homestead and Phoenix.
Available because once SMI gets involved, and I think you'll see this transformation with the NASCAR, with the Nashville big track. Once they get involved, if it works out, it's going to be first class, or they're going to cut bait like they did in Kentucky, right? They tried Kentucky, didn't work, on to the next. So, and so there's just not that many dates available because they get their things up and they get them humming, and they're good tracks with good racing. So I see the need. I would say that it's most likely that at least initially the Nashville tracks will alternate. So you'll race 1 year at the fairgrounds, 1 year at the big track, with an eye on somehow securing a second date so they can race at both places every year. But at least in their plan is to, based on the conversation I had a couple of weeks ago with Marcus Smith, I think their initial thought is to rotate between the 2 tracks.
Right. That's what I understand the plan as of now. But if they extend the Cup Series to additional races, Nashville could potentially, that's what I'm saying. If the extension of the series means Nashville Fairgrounds get an annual race, I'm in for extending the season.
Yeah, but
otherwise I'm not. I don't care.
I wouldn't necessarily count on that because you have to understand that the tracks that aren't owned by SMI are owned by who?
Mainly NASCAR.
And so why would they give away that money to Marcus Smith when they could keep it for themselves? And and they're really big right now on building these temporary tracks, the street race in Chicago, the race at the Coliseum. So I could see very easily those races becoming those kinds of things, because I know they really want to get into the New York market, something bad. Like they really want to get into that market. And I think they really want to get into the Northwest, into like the Portland area. They did rent an Xfinity Series race up that way. So
clearly NASCAR's making plenty enough money building all these tracks. That's all I'm saying.
Well, right.
Maybe the owner's got a little, maybe their beef has got a little substance here. That's all I'm saying.
Well, yeah. The beef is not about that the sport doesn't have money. The sport has money. It's just the division of the money. It's the same thing like corporations, they have money. That doesn't mean the person that's running the plant has money.
That's right.
So,
oh man. And one other thing I wanted to get to is potentially maybe we've seen the last of some rainouts at certain places. Rain tires look like they're going to be a thing.
they tested them last year at Martinsville, and
Mhm.
it's a discussion for the short tracks, the flatter ones. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I know the list of racetracks we're talking about. I would see it.
The list I have is the Coliseum, Martinsville, New Hampshire, North Wilkesboro, Phoenix, and Richmond.
Yeah, the short flatter tracks, right? All the short tracks but Bristol, basically. And I think that that's good because from what I understand, they wouldn't be running in the pouring down rain. This would be more of a wet track. You know, it rained this morning.
Yeah.
The track's still damp, or a little shower or sprinkle comes over. Because we saw at COTA a couple years ago, you can't run in the pouring rain because of all the splash off the tires makes it impossible to see, and people are running in the back of each other and wrecking and all of that kind of fun stuff. So, but I think,
windshield wipers don't exactly work.
no, not at that speed.
Not at that speed. Yeah. They probably pull off.
I think it's great, right? We already do that at the road courses. Maybe we don't make the best decision as to where to park at the road courses, but we've run some road courses now in the rain. And, you know, I think it's good from a fan perspective if it's not raining, if it's not a torrential downpour, to go ahead and keep racing, right? Because people spend a lot of time and money and hotels and gas to get to a place like Martinsville. I mean, that's in the middle of nowhere, you know, so most of their fans are coming in from other places. And so if it rains out, they've wasted their money. They can't see a race. They might get a ticket to another race, but then that involves more hotels and cars and gas and things like that. So I like it. Most of the feedback I heard from the tests over the summer in Martinsville was that the drivers liked it. So I say, why not try it? If it sucks like it did when we tried to run in the rain at COTA in the pouring down rain, then we just don't do it again. But I think it's worth a try for sure.
I agree. Oh, well, that's it. That's all I had. Although there is one thing that we can maybe say for next week, and that is a new NASCAR team that is that has announced today. So I thought that was pretty cool. We can save that for next week because who knows? We may not have any news next week. We'll just have to talk about Dobbins Bennett or something else. Who knows?
I mean, I could always talk about high school stuff. That's my life other than the NASCAR. So
maybe by next week we'll have news out of Johnson City and that new community center. So
it is really funny because it's like one gets a video board, then the other gets a video board, then one gets new turf, and then the other gets new turf, and so it's always really funny to watch those two.
Is it always the same one first and the same one chasing, or does it kind of go back and forth, or how does that work?
No, it's usually the same one first.
Yeah.
I mean, Science Hill is a very nice high school. It's the second largest high school in our area. Dobbins Bennett is the first biggest, but Dobbins Bennett has that Eastman money. And that Eastman money goes a long way in giving them whatever they want.
Got it. Okay. Now I understand.
So the Hilltoppers are always chasing Kingsport. I can tell you. Yeah. That's interesting. Well,
much to their dismay.
I bet. I bet beating them this year in football was a pretty big deal.
Well, you know, and they've actually beat them the last couple of years, even though Dobbins Bennett has had a much better regular season. And yeah, it's you can always tell it means a lot to them.
Well, Heather, it means a lot to us that you take time to speak with us on Wednesdays, and we appreciate it. We will talk to you again next week, and enjoy early signing day.
We actually have no signees here today. Isn't that crazy?
What?
Yeah.
It is.
We have a couple of kids that are going to sign next week or at the end of this week, but we actually have 0 kids signing today.
Wow. Okay. Well,
I know.
Enjoy your downtime then.
It's an early Christmas present.
It is. There you go.
Hey.
There you go.
Hey, have a great Christmas, Heather. We appreciate it.
Yeah, you guys too, and everybody that stops by and listens, I appreciate it, and have a good holidays.
All right. Happy holidays to you. We'll take a short break. When we come back, some college football and NLI signings. We have a list on mainstreetpreps.com. If you want to read along, you can do that. So come hang out with us. We've got that and some transfer portal highlights. We've got Mark Stoops and Josh Heupel with some comments that we will react to. So stick around. Main Street Sports Today returns after this. This is Chris Yow with Main Street Sports Today. Every show, Mo Patton and I welcome friends from all across the sports landscape, from high school coaches and reporters to national, college, and pro sports personalities. You never know who might stop by for a chat. AP Tennessee sports editor, three-time Tennessee Sports Writer of the Year 2020 TSWA Hall of Famer. She covers the Titans, the Predators, the Grizzlies, college football, and hoops. Please make welcome Teresa Walker.
Former University of Tennessee, former Team USA Olympian, ex-Cy Young Award winner, R.A. Dickey. R.A., did I miss anything?
Man, that was sweet. Yeah, I need to listen to that before I go to bed every night. That was nice.
Has 5 sports Emmys. That's not bad for the other guy in Wham, Ryan McGee.
The other guy in Wham married the best looking girl, Bananarama. So the other guy in Wham had a pretty good life.
From preps to pros, we're taking on the sports topics you care about. Tune in across Main Street Media social platforms at 2 p.m. or on demand on your podcast distribution platform of choice. Welcome back in Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Chris Yow, Mo Patton here on this early signing day, and we do have quite the list of folks making their way, signing all across Middle Tennessee, Mo. I mean, just absolute crazy list. Way too much for us to just go down, but the statewide signees on mainstreetpreps.com. But some interesting of note signings. We mentioned Hank Brown yesterday. Lipscomb Academy headed to Auburn. Justin Brown could be catching passes from Chris Parson at Mississippi State. Thought that was pretty big.
Yeah, the Blackman receiver who was he a Mr. Football semifinalist, I guess?
I believe he was.
I believe both he and the quarterback were semifinalists. So.
They had a kid who Blackman had 3 kids go Power 5 today. The
tight end Marshall did he hang with California?
He did. Okay. And Jacob Page headed to Coach Primetime.
Yeah, I saw that. Saw his tweet, I guess last night, maybe. As we've mentioned earlier, he's Coach Prime's got a couple of guys with local ties on his staff, Corey Phillips and Darius Darden-Box. Both have Vanderbilt ties. Corey also coached at Ryan, and Darden-Box played at Pearl Cone. So yeah, a little local flavor on that staff, and I guess it's showing up in the recruiting. This isn't a local
this is statewide
product. No, but there is a signing here that I thought was of interest to you because, as we talked about you riding hard for Josh Dobbs, you were a big Deshaun Bishop fan last year, and he was a Coastal Carolina commit for the longest, decommitted here not too long ago after Jamie Chadwell left, and apparently has signed with Tennessee.
How about that?
Stay at home.
That's huge because I think he's defensive back.
I know he's a running back, but I mean,
yeah,
I didn't know
I'll be interested to see what he ends up playing at Tennessee. I hope he plays running back because again, he ran for 4,000 yards over the last 2.5 seasons. So,
yeah,
I'm
intrigued by Bo Burklow, the CPA tight end, who's also a big baseball guy. He was committed to Coastal Carolina as well, decommitted not too long ago, signed with his old coach at his new school. He's headed to Liberty.
That's right. How about SEMO recruiting Middle Tennessee hard? Got the kicker from Springfield, DeMarcus Brown from Mount Pleasant, and Jacques Wyatt from Clarksville Academy, the wide receiver, who was really, really good in the 2 times I saw him over the last couple of years. So SEMO out here doing it big.
Yeah.
But yeah, so if you are looking for or or would like to see a statewide list, just check out mainstreetpreps.com. Quincy Hamilton of
Chris, we
Martin
may
West
need
is going to UT Martin, by the way.
we may need to tweet that out because it's not easily found on the website.
Is it not? So last time I went to the website, it was the first story up there.
Oh, okay.
It just says
maybe I just needed to refresh.
Signing day list.
Yeah, I've got it up now, but I had to dig for it a little bit. So
Gotcha.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there's a list on the website. Go check that out. Yesterday we were talking about transfers and all that goes into that. Kentucky got a couple of pretty big transfer names. One in particular, Ray Davis from Vanderbilt, headed to Kentucky. That's tough for Vanderbilt, and really good for Mark Stoops and his team. But also NC State quarterback Devin Leary. Now, I'm just going to let you hear directly from Mark Stoops about both Ray Davis. You'll hear about Ray Davis first, and then about Devin Leary. It's a couple minutes, so then we'll react to what Mark Stoops had to say.
I mean, you just look at Ray and, he kind of fits that mold of what we've been, and how you need to have that tough, strong, physical guy. But we also wanted some dynamic playmakers as well, and so we're still working at that position and hopefully sign a very explosive, dynamic high school guy as well. So we'll work that for more time. But it was very important with Ray. I think he's another guy that obviously did very well against us. He's proven player in the SEC. And so, it's been a great addition, and he's got a very charismatic personality, very strong young man on and off the field. And so we're grateful to have him. Obviously the transfer and, really headlined by Devin Leary, a guy that was highly sought after. Anybody that was in the quarterback market, and I mean anybody and everybody that was in the quarterback market was after him. So we really feel like we hit a home run with him. And, again, I've told you, I feel confident with the quarterbacks that we have on campus. But this gives you a 1-year transfer free agent, if you will, to come in for a year and really bridge that gap and let our guys continue to grow, the quarterbacks that we have on campus. I'm excited to watch them play in this game. They really worked hard and are doing some good things, and I'm excited to watch them. But with Devin, it brings in a proven guy with a lot of snaps under his belt with the playmakers that we have in place. That's a really big get for us. Yeah, we did. We had a lot of guys interested. And, a couple things. I think, number one, with Devin having 1 year, it kind of shows to the quarterbacks that you have on campus that we believe in you, that you're going to be, have a bright future.
How exactly, Mo, does you going and getting a quarterback to keep me from playing tell me that you believe in me?
That's a tough sell. That's
a heck of a job selling it, though.
I'd love to see their faces as they heard that. We're bringing in a guy with the anticipation that he's going to start ahead of you guys, but we believe in you.
And this proves it. That's what he said. This proves it. We believe in you because Devin only has 1 year. Clearly you don't believe in me, Coach.
As of right now, Destin still has 4 years, right?
He will have 4 years.
Yeah. Okay.
He can redshirt because he didn't play at all.
Okay.
And bowl season apparently does not count against eligibility.
Right.
Here's the thing I would like to point out. I'm excited to see them play in this game.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds like we're going to see 2 quarterbacks in the Music City Bowl next Friday or Saturday.
How many do they have?
Well, they have 2 at the top of the list.
There we go.
So when you say them, certainly sounds like you're going to be seeing both of them.
Yeah. So it sounds like
if you're from
number one will be making his collegiate debut as we had hoped.
If you are a resident of Southern Middle Tennessee, you might want to get a ticket to the Music City Bowl. That's all I'm saying.
I'm gonna tell you what, if he gets on the field, they might not be able to get him off.
It will not surprise me. Number 1 defense in the country, Mo.
Yeah.
Easy to do against the Big Ten West.
Yeah, not a great deal of challenge there.
And Iowa State.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying. Now,
I don't think there's too many Berrien Browns in the Big Ten West.
No, there are not. There aren't many Destin Wades, buddy. We've got Destin Wade and you don't. Now, Kentucky they were in the portal market. Josh Heupel had this to say about his take on, or his approach to the transfer portal versus high school players.
Year one, a lot of those guys were taken after spring ball, just, where our roster was at and trying to patch some things up as we were getting ready to go compete and play on the field. A majority of what we're going to do is going to be through the high schools. I think you got to bring in kids that are going to develop. It gives you stability and growth inside of your program, gives you leadership inside of your program. There's a culture piece to this game that's extremely important. I think that has to live within your high school kids that you're recruiting. At the same time, because of the transfer portal, there's things that you may need to patch inside of your roster. Portal, junior college give you the ability to do that. But at the end of the day, I think it's about roster development and the development of your players inside your program, and that starts with the high school kids that you're bringing in.
Thank you, Coach.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
It sounds like to me that Josh Heupel plans to build his team from high school players much more than portal guys.
And that's refreshing to hear. And I think, particularly for a young coaching staff in terms of tenure at their current place, to be able to, build that fence as he mentioned to us when we spoke with him a couple of summers ago, and as continues to be the cry.
Mo is a little frozen at the moment. We'll get him back, but yeah, there you are. But you're exactly right. He just keeps harping on it, Mo. He keeps harping on building that fence, and that's what he seems to be doing. He's following through on that promise, and that's a big deal to me, as one as a fan, but also as someone who covers these kids around Tennessee and watching high school football in the state. We know where it is talent level wise. We talked about it yesterday. Five quarterbacks could be starting in the SEC next year from Middle Tennessee alone. And so it is refreshing, and I'm looking forward to it continuing.
Well, it's also refreshing, and hopefully I won't freeze before I can get this thought finished. But, we've talked to a lot of coaches, a lot of folks familiar with high school recruiting, and we are familiar with the frustration with college recruiting and the college game, and how few opportunities kids are getting out of high school because of the backlog that we've seen. The bottleneck I get with the COVID year and with the transfer portal, and you see Oregon tight ends getting 9 years of eligibility and that kind of thing. And it's got to be a little discouraging for these high school kids.
It has to be. And we've seen it firsthand up close and in person, how frustrating it can be for really good high school football players to be left out because of the changing world of college sports, plus the COVID year we're still dealing with.
Yeah.
Couple of other things. Alan Green has made his way to Ole Miss. That's a pretty big hire for the Rebs. And JT Daniels has his landing spot. Not sure Rice is the place I would have gone if I were JT, considering what their true freshman quarterback did in the bowl game against Southern Miss. But good luck to him.
Well, I mean, if you're going to be somewhere, might as well be Dallas, I guess. No, Rice is in Houston. Excuse me. Same diff, though.
Yeah, same difference. Maybe we'll get to see him. So, yeah. Maybe we'll get to see him next year.
Well, Rice is going to the WAC next year.
No, they're in the AAC.
The American. So yeah. So
well, I guess I could see him in Birmingham, but that'd be about it.
Or Memphis, if you go.
That's right, or Memphis. But I'm not going to either of those games. I'm not going to watch Rice on purpose.
Not even with JT Daniels?
No. The only Rice that I'm going to watch on purpose is Minute Rice, and that's because it only takes a minute. Yeah, that's it. So we'll take a break, Mo. We've got Teresa Walker standing by, and we'll talk Titans on the other side of it. So stick around. Teresa Walker right after this on Main Street Sports Today. Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net. Hey folks, while we take a quick break from the show, I want to tell you about our friends over at Custom Stone Handlers in downtown Columbia. Ed Rich and his team at Custom Stone Handlers believe in leadership. And outside of the military, our greatest leader building platform is sports. Custom Stone Handlers proudly encourages young people to get in the game. You can contact them today at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50-plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, ZionEagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's ZionEagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
A game without a crowd is just a scrimmage. A performance without an audience is just a rehearsal. Without your presence, high school sports and the performing arts aren't possible. Ensure that these essential extracurricular activities continue to enrich the lives of students in Tennessee. Purchase a ticket to your local high school's game or performance.
This message presented by the TSSAA.
Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Murray County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic injuries, and our Ortho Quick walk-in service lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net. Some nice background music there for the old MTBJ commercial. Welcome back in. Main Street Sports Today is presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Chris, Yow and Maurice Patton, as we are getting ready to talk a little Titans, and we have Teresa Walker, the Associated Press, joining us to do so. Teresa, welcome in.
Well, good afternoon. We've got nothing to talk about, do we, whatsoever?
Yeah, no. This should be a short segment.
Yeah, there's literally nothing going on. I mean, Franco Harris dies. The Titans add yet another quarterback. I mean, the injury report yesterday, estimated from a walkthrough, and daunting. I mean, to say the least, 18. And then today they make some roster moves and they add Joshua Dobbs, bringing back a former Tennessee Vol, VFL. And yes, he was in the number 11 that he wore at UT today. Caleb Shudak, who had number 11. Yes, the number that we all remember who wore it the last 3 years, A.J. Brown. But Caleb Shudak, the kicker, is now a number 6. And at practice did not see Ryan Tannehill. I have not seen an injury report yet, but did not see Ryan Tannehill on the field. And Malik Willis, I mean, let's face it, he seems to be. Mike Vrabel spoke to us real briefly. Usually doesn't talk to us. This is kind of a Thursday since their game is on Saturday. So coordinators talked to us today. But, after they finished their walkthrough, he stopped by and talked to us and gave us a quick update and said that Ryan's doing everything he can to be ready for the game. But they needed to make sure and protect themselves at quarterback. Now, for people saying, wait a minute, Kevin Hogan is on the practice squad. Well, yes, but that gives you 2 healthy quarterbacks. And let's be honest, Joshua Dobbs plays a similar fashion that's much more close to Malik Willis's style than Kevin Hogan. So, and because Josh Dobbs was recently signed, I think 2 weeks ago, to the Detroit practice squad, the only way the Titans could bring him in was to sign him to the active roster. So, and they clear up a roster space for all the people saying, play Dylan Radins at left tackle. Sorry, that's not an option anymore. He is on IR with the knee injury he suffered in the game at Los Angeles. So,
where he was playing pretty well, by the way.
Yeah, he was. He absolutely was. And, for all the people thinking, that traffic cone Dennis Daly, and by the way, he was on the injury report yesterday, but not with an injury. It was not injury related. So everybody else on the offensive line was on that injury report. Aaron Brewer, Ben Jones has got a concussion. Guys, his second one in a month, which is not a good sign. And then, Nate Davis, I think, is an ankle. Aaron Brewer, God, I can't remember what his was. So it's like they're beat up, and they're now officially at 17 on IR. Now, Traylon Burks was at practice today. He's still on IR, so they could get one back. They could get him back. They could get Zach Cunningham back and drop that IR list from 17 to 15. But banged up. That's being polite. And for people who've been, for weeks, fire the strength and conditioning staff, it's all their fault. Well, the controlling owner, Amy Adams Strunk, she looked at the roster construction, and let's be honest, it was just barely a couple weeks ago. She said, you know what? I'm gonna look at the guy who put this roster together. And she fired John Robinson. So it's going to be very interesting to see, and for the people who are still asking why in the middle of the season, guys, she can evaluate a couple of candidates who were finalists and interviewed by other teams each of these last 2 off seasons. Ryan Cowden is kind of the interim GM guy. He's he was a finalist for the Steelers and I think the Giants this last offseason, and Monty Austinfort is another guy. And then, Brian Gardner, the director of pro personnel, they've sent twice this year to get-togethers with NFL owners at owners meetings to help facilitate and kind of get-togethers, to help introduce the people who make hiring decisions to more potential minority candidates. So, which Brian Gardner absolutely is. They sent Tony Dews to the May get-together, but right now he's a little busy. It's the regular season. So, there's just, people want to blame the strength and conditioning staff. Maybe it's the players they've brought in. Let's be that honest.
Here's the thing, though, Teresa. I mean, I think the rash of injuries over this last 2 seasons has been unlike, and we don't keep up with any other team quite the way we do this team. So, I mean, maybe other teams are going through this type issue with injuries. I don't think they are, though. I mean, it's pretty unbelievable, the number of players that the Titans have had unavailable because of injury. And it's not just dumb luck, is it? I mean, I don't know. It's just baffling to me.
Well, think about it, Mo. They signed Bud Dupree in March of 21, and he tore his ACL in December of 20. Okay. They trade for Robert Woods, which is kind of a miracle that he's leading this team and actually, started the season and has been available. He tore his ACL November 12th. They drafted Caleb Farley weeks after a second back surgery. Dylan Radins is a guy that you're asking and projecting, a guy who played one game in the entirety of 2020 because of the pandemic, from an FCS power, but an FCS level school, to make the jump to the NFL. So maybe some of it comes to, quit taking chances on guys who've been around 3 years. Roger McCreary, he's a guy who returned for a fourth year. He's been crucial for them at cornerback. A guy that when they took him in the second round, I think we were all kind of looking like, really, receiver, coulda, shoulda, offensive line. And he has been a guy that's been an absolute crucial piece for this defense, and, made maybe the defensive play of the year last weekend with that incredible
in a loss.
In a loss, but I mean, heady play. I mean, he's a rookie, and he has the thought process to tip that back to a teammate to make the pick. So,
sure.
I mean, player choices. Jamarco Jones was the big offensive lineman that they signed this offseason, and Jamarco, we hardly saw you. Okay. I mean, so it's like, sometimes it's the people you're bringing in who are a part of the problem. And, when we were talking to Mike, Mike Vrabel was asked a few questions about what they do to try to help with conditioning and strength, et cetera, keeping guys healthy. The word repeat offenders did come up. And when it comes to soft tissue injuries, the one true, there's only been a couple of real repeat offenders this year. Elijah Molden with a groin, back on IR. Christian Fulton with a hamstring. Well, he's a cornerback. Both of them are. So, some of this, and then some of it, maybe somebody broke a mirror somewhere in that building during all the construction, to renovate that building. I don't know at this point. I'll be honest. I'm one of those people that thought, surely to heavens, this can't happen 2 years in a row. Right. And yet it has.
Yeah. TERESA Walker of the Associated Press joining us here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. TERESA, as this team gets ready for a Saturday matchup at home against the Houston Texans, I don't know that this is I don't know that there are any cinches for the Titans anymore, because most everybody kind of felt like that Jacksonville game a couple of weeks ago was going to be the get right game for Tennessee, and we see how that happened.
Well, that's the thing. At a certain point, do the Titans give in and say, you know what, there's too many injuries, we're exhausted, we're tired, there's too much of it, and just throw in the towel? Or do they get a little ticked off? I'll just say this. Jeffrey Simmons today, he sounded ticked off. Kevin Byard, who sounded as defeated as I've heard him, and I covered him back at MTSU, as defeated as I've heard him. I mean, he even used a four-letter curse word that for poo. Kevin doesn't do that. Okay.
Right.
That's not Kevin Byard. So you could see the frustration, the exhaustion, just all the emotions seemed to hit him after that game on Sunday. But these are professionals, and they are the division leaders. Okay. They are one win. They've got a 1-game lead, 3 to play. The game in Jacksonville could very well, guys, at this point, I'm kind of expecting it to get flexed maybe to that Sunday night finale, shades of 2018. Remember that, when the Colts at Titans, and we found out just a couple hours before the game time that Marcus Mariota wasn't going to be able to go. And what happened after that season? They went out and got Ryan Tannehill in March of 2019, and we're all like, better option than Blaine Gabbert for sure. And look how it's turned out. So here's the thing. They have one less day to, kind of get their minds right. But on the other hand, and Houston has always played them tough. I mean, it does not matter the records. When the Titans have been bad, when the Texans have been bad, it just does not matter. These teams play each other because, let's not forget, for people that are new to Middle Tennessee, the Houston Texans are the team that replaced the Titans in Houston, way back in 2002. So there is a lot of pride on the line for ownership, for sure. And people in that building know that this means a lot to Miss Amy Adams-Strunk, who sent a message a couple weeks ago that jobs are on the line. So if she's going to fire a GM, don't get too comfortable over there. So it's going to be cold. They know it. I've seen, guys, I looked this morning, SeatGeek, if you want a seat, if you're willing to sit up there in the cold Saturday, you could get a seat for $8 or $10, bundle up. You could get a, by an hour before game time, you can probably get in the lower bowl for not much money at all. By the way, I've got 4 available. Message me, DM me. My mother-in-law doesn't want to go, and neither does the 2 people that sit next to her. So, but you mentioned a get right game. If Malik Willis is starting, it's going to probably be more of what we saw October 30th. I do expect Malik Willis to throw the ball more than the one time he did in the second half of that game. Let's face it, Malik Willis has had a few weeks to grow. And when he went in the middle of that game on Sunday, cold off the bench, he looked good. And the play that stood out to me for that rookie was when they got a free play penalty on the defense. He did the right thing. The 3rd-year veteran wide receiver, Nick Westbrook-Akina, broke off the route. The receivers are coached on those situations. Go route. Go to the end zone. They're throwing it deep, trying to take advantage of that to draw draw another flag, catch them off guard. And the veteran messed up that play. The rookie did what he needed to do, and he threw it deep. And unfortunately, he gets called for intentional grounding, which, offsetting penalties. It was ridiculous. But Malik Willis has grown. Now, does he still have a lot more room to grow? Absolutely. The leap from Liberty to the NFL is huge. But if he is the guy that starts on Saturday, he's going to be much more comfortable. It's going to be his 3rd game. God, his 2nd start was in prime time in Kansas City, and that game went to overtime. So, this is a game where we're going to find out, are the Titans, but as much as I want to say get right, guys, this is a team that just needs to get healthy. I mean, if Danico Autry, who was on the practice field, if he can play, if Zach Cunningham, who, his return to practice window opened last Wednesday, can he come back? If they can get some of these, Traylon Burks, if they can get those 3 guys back, that could provide the boost that they kind of need. It's like, okay, finally, the cavalry's coming. Thank God. And that could be the thing that gives them that little bit of a boost, because then we'll worry about next week because, the Dallas Cowboys are coming into town on Thursday night, short week, primetime game. And, oh, Lordy, I know Cowboy fans are spending a lot of money to buy their way into that game.
It is a rough time to be a Tennessee Titans fan for a number of reasons, but
they're still atop the division, Chris. Come on. The season's not over.
And yet it should be. Because
Why?
there is zero reason that this team should even continue trying to win the division when you're going to have to pick 20th. Just kick it, pick earlier, go do what you got to do, because all of the offensive linemen available are not going to be there at 20, and you just lost Dylan Radins for at least half of 2023 because if his ACL is in fact torn. That being said,
Chris,
I understand everything there is to understand about the competitive nature of this team and of this front office. Mike Vrabel teams are not going to give up. They're not going to tank. It's just not going to happen. I get that. I just kind of wish that they would try to pick a little higher and kick this season. Now that's me. That's a fan. Because it's frustrating when you know the potential of a team.
But here's the thing. Let me talk you off the ledge a little bit.
You're not going to do that, Teresa. If you ever listen to me talk about the Braves, Teresa, you would understand.
Teresa, if you've seen Major League, Chris is the guy sitting out in the outfield bleachers.
They'll blow it in the ninth. I'm that guy.
Yeah.
Well, here's a couple of things. 26th season covering the NFL. It doesn't matter. You really think that picking 20th instead of 22 or 24, you can trade up to get a guy, right? You can trade.
Who are we trading?
Well, guess what? You might be able to, if the NFL were a little bit more like the NBA, maybe you could get somebody to take Taylor Lewan's salary off your hands. Unfortunately, that's not going to happen. He's going to be a salary cap cut as soon as they can. That's going to be one of the first moves they make. But guys, here, you don't give up when you've got Derrick Henry. Okay, you've got Traylon Burks coming back. Chig Okonkwo has already set a franchise record for tight ends receiving yards, okay? They've got pieces here. And a year ago, my God, in Nissan Stadium, do we forget, a 10-7 Bengals team, and I don't – yes, I know, Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, 3 interceptions were the decision in that game, okay? And that team ended up going to a Super Bowl. You play the game. I'm going to go Herm Edwards on you a little bit. You play to win the game, and then you see what happens because sports. It's why we were
sports. No, I agree with you there.
25 million people in the United States were watching the end of that World Cup on Sunday because you didn't know what was going to happen. This is why we watch sports. This is the thing that keeps us going. And I say this as a lifelong Cubs fan. I've been there where it's like next year, and I say that in March sometimes. But you're not going to gain enough room in draft status for the chance for a home playoff game. That's money. And for a franchise that's poured a ton of money into that new practice building, okay? I mean, that they paid for that themselves, the Adams family, okay? That came out of their pocket. They didn't go to Nashville taxpayers. And yes, they're working on a new stadium. But for right now, you live in the now. And that's what matters. That's why they made the moves that they made today. That's why they're going to continue making roster moves to try to keep this team and get 48 healthy players at kickoff on Saturday, is to try to go win this division because they can.
Well, I can say this. It doesn't matter if Derrick Henry's in the backfield if he's on the sideline on 3rd and 2. And that's all I'm going to say.
Hey, I asked about that on Monday, and I did have some people reach out thinking that that maybe Mike Vrabel kind of dissed me a little bit. No, to me he was protecting Derrick Henry, who isn't as hard as Derrick Henry has worked on things. His pass catching skills, his pass pro. There are better guys who can pass protect on passing downs. My argument is that on 3rd and 2. Run.
That shouldn't be a passing down.
It shouldn't be a passing down. Run the ball.
And even if it is, it's a stand up and throw it. You shouldn't have to protect. It is a pretend to hand the ball to number 22, step up, throw it over the top, tight end dump, whatever you want to call it. Chig Okonkwo on an out route. It's very simple. It's not rocket surgery.
No,
and yet.
It seems to be. I mean, somebody screenshot that one of the 3rd and 2s. There was a guy wide open in the right flat, and Ryan Tannehill's looking that way, and yet he gets sacked. So, the offensive line has struggled. Ryan has struggled. I mean, God, the fact that he came back into that game with his ankle, and he said, he was carted off because it saved time. But when he was asked about the pain level, it's like, well, whatever the top point was, that's what it was. Give the man tough points, but he has had moments where he could play better. So, I mean, there have been moments where, Derrick Henry has had moments where he could play better. I mean, but again, it's sports. We'll tune in, and and it may very well come down to that final game in Jacksonville, and we might see a passing of the torch like we saw in Houston. Think about it. The last 3 years, the Titans went to Houston. First to get a wild card title, and then 2 times to win the AFC South. Well, they may be going to Jacksonville, with the division title on the line for the winner. This is exactly what the NFL wants. They crave this, and people are tuning in for this very reason. Now, and for the question, Radens is on IR. So there's no way he can play left tackle for the rest of this year. So right now it's probably going to be Dennis Daly at left tackle. And yes, I've compared him to a traffic cone or my trash can. And, and so that, hey, PFF stats call him out far worse than anything I just said. So he's given up more sacks than anybody on fewer snaps played in the NFL this season, according to PFF. So, that's why they're chipping and trying to give him help. And even that's not helping.
TERESA Walker of the Associated Press here with us on Main Street Sports Day. TERESA, thank you. You're not going to talk me off the ledge. My hat's going to be inside out, and it's going to say these guys suck. It's just going to happen. And yet on Saturday, I'll be their biggest fan, and I hope they win.
Well, your former intern too is going to be helping me on Saturday, and trust me, I've told him he cannot react in the press box the way he does when he's watching games at home.
I'll do
And
my best.
He's trying to sneak in here, but I've told him he has to be a pro on Saturday. So you be a fan in your seat, he'll be a pro in his seat, or else, and we'll see what the Titans do. I mean, this is why we tune in. Derrick Henry ran for 219 yards the last time against the Texans. He's run for 200 or more in 4 straight games against the Texans. With the weather forecast, with the quarterback situation, I'm expecting lots and lots of Derrick Henry on Saturday.
Let's hope so. We appreciate it, TERESA. We will talk to you soon.
Take care and Merry Christmas, guys.
Merry Christmas.
You as well, T.
All right, guys. We've got just a few minutes, and we've got 4 games to pick against the spread, so it is time. Let's get right to it. College football bowl picks tonight. Western Kentucky is a 2.5-point dog to the Jaguars of South Alabama, whose men's basketball team just took down my Jacksonville State Gamecocks. So very sad.
You said 2.5?
Yep, 2.5. Justin, you got any thoughts? We got to do this really quick, guys.
Go ahead. Y'all go ahead first. Sorry. Go ahead.
Now, I'm going to go South Alabama.
I'm going South Alabama as well. Yes.
Okay. I believe I am going to do that as well. Yes.
All right. Air Force, Lockheed Martin Armed Forces Bowl. They are a 5.5-point dog to Baylor.
I'm going Baylor.
Man, I don't know. It's Service Academy. I'm going Air Force to cover. Baylor may win, but Air Force is going to cover.
I'm going Baylor.
Louisiana, Houston, 2.5-point favorite here in the Radiance Technologies Independence Bowl in Shreveport. So Louisiana, Lafayette.
Houston's what? How much?
2.5 points favorites.
You said it is Rockets. I don't know why I said their basketball team, but Houston.
Cougars. Yeah, that's where I'm going.
I'm going Cougars as well. Lincoln Home Mortgage Gasparilla Bowl.
What?
Wake Forest and Missouri. Wake Forest a 1.5-point favorite against the Tigers.
Ooh, I'm gonna have to go Arnold Palmer's alumni or alumni school. Wake Forest, baby.
Alma mater.
Alma mater. That's what it is. What did I say? Alumni.
Yeah.
What an idiot.
I'm going with the Deacons as well in this one, just because I got no confidence in Missouri.
I think the quarterback at Wake Forest is going to be just a little too much if he's playing. If he's not, Missouri wins this game.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm going to go with Wake Forest though. So there you have it.
Look at us. I think we all agreed on each game, didn't we?
No,
not each.
I went
No.
Air Force. I
Chris
know
took
that.
Air Force.
Oh, gotcha.
That may be the only one that we disagreed on.
It is.
That's going to do it for today's show. We appreciate you guys hanging out with us here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid Tennessee Bone and Joint. We'll be back tomorrow at 2:00. Coach's Corner tomorrow, and it's going to be a good one. So see you then.
See y'all.